All right, and welcome to episode 21 of What is Hitman Roulette. I can't even believe that we're here, honestly. To be totally TBH, I did not expect to make another episode after Ambrose Island that didn't include a brand new map. But that just kind of comes with the territory when we're talking about Roulette. It's constantly updating, there's always new meta strats coming into play, and I thought it was about damn time to make an episode addressing those updates for those strats regarding the Season 1 maps, specifically in this video. I'm going to be making 2 more videos covering the Season 2 and Season 3 maps, respectively, for this update series, mini-series, I guess you could say. So expect 2 more episodes in the not-too-distant future. But for now, like I said, let's focus on Season 1. Now, what do I mean by updated strats? Obviously, if you're familiar with this series and you've watched the 20 episodes preceding this one, then you know I've covered this entire game in depth for what you should expect going into a roulette spin for each of the maps. However, strategies change, there's updates all the time, and new meta is always coming into play. So, the series needs an update, that way everybody who's just joining roulette can at least try to keep up with the meta strats and the ones that are definitely going to get you far in a roulette tournament. I feel it might make roulette play a little bit more interesting if more people have more tools to work with going into a tournament, especially if it's their first go-around. Roulette is always evolving, and unfortunately it's kind of taken a back seat to freelancer these days because freelancer is this new big thing that everybody's doing, and roulette is definitely not on top of the popularity spectrum. But let's try to get things back on track with the Hitman community and get roulette back to where it needs to be. I feel like this video might help with that. Breathing a little more life into this series might breathe a little more life into roulette itself and Hitman. Who knows? So we'll see how it all works out. But for now, let's go into the details. I'm going to be covering Paris to Hokkaido, as I said, the Season 1 maps only. And I'm going to be going over just the most important strategies I find that people are going to need for participating in roulette tournaments going forward. Some maps have a bunch of important updates that completely change how we approach roulette spins, and other maps, the changes are very minuscule and pretty easy to follow. Either way, I'm going to be covering pretty much every single map in this entire game from start to finish. And including this episode, I think the next 3 episodes in this series are going to be pretty interesting going over everything like that. So I hope it's interesting to everybody else. Still can't believe we're here. It's pretty awesome to be back making these videos since it's been such a long time since the last video came out of Ambrose Island. And hopefully we get some new maps in the future so I can add some more episodes to this series. But for now, let's just sit back and enjoy this one. Hopefully you guys enjoy the updates. Let's do this, starting now. So starting things off, we have the briefcase lure for Viktor Novikov in Paris. This one's kind of tricky and does require some practice, but once you get the hang of it, you'll pretty much never fail it, as is pretty much the case with everything in Hitman. Head into the palace, and once you see Viktor on the stairs, you're going to need to throw your briefcase against the wall and attract the attention of him, Kurt, his bodyguard, and the security guard downstairs. Make sure that Viktor is not finished his walking cycle at the top of the stairs there. If he stops to start waving at people downstairs, then you've fucked it up already. The sweet spot I find is normally around the 23-24 second mark to where you need to throw the briefcase or throw whatever you can against the wall. Bump the security guard and make sure that the timing works out for Viktor. Sometimes the security guard can be a bit of a pain in the dick. He can stand in the doorway, and that can actually change the way that Viktor walks around the door, so he'll actually miss the briefcase placement entirely if the cop is standing in a wrong spot. So just make sure you bump him after the throw, and Viktor will head down this area as you see here. You know you did the strat right if Viktor heads to the right of the stairway. Place the briefcase like I've shown on screen here. You don't have to be perfect, but it does need to be in this general vicinity. Once Viktor turns the corner by the railing there, open the door and just chill until you see him spot the briefcase. Immediately grab the briefcase and head down the stairs a little bit halfway. He's going to come into the room and investigate the scenario. Kurt's going to follow him, and at that point you're going to want to take out Kurt and then knock out Viktor Novikov. It's a pretty solid isolation, and it works great in tandem with the next strat that we're going to demonstrate. Speaking of which, we have the Code 17 strat, specifically for Dahlia in this scenario. Kurt drops the phone that you require in order to access the strat. Pick up the phone and trigger it. Once you do, you'll hear 47 start calling the whatever the hell. He's calling the cops or some shit, the amber lamps, I don't know, some kind of stuff. And he's reporting a Code 17 in order to get Dahlia's ass downstairs and away from the imminent danger. What she doesn't know is that she's actually putting herself in even graver of dangers. Dahlia is actually going to run her former supermodel ass all the way downstairs to the room directly below where you would start if you started attic. This is a great room because all you need to do in this scenario is just get her. Just kill her ass while she's down there. You can actually do it either from the room itself, or you can do it from the attic where you get the vampire magician disguise. This is a perfect spot when you have a spin that requires, I don't know, suit Victor or bodyguard Dahlia or vampire magician Dahlia and suit Victor or bodyguard Victor or whatever the hell it is. Dahlia's just staying put in the room, and she'll be here for about 2 minutes once the guards that bring her down here leave the room. So count down the 2-minute timer, and away you go. You can just shoot her there and leave her body in that room. She won't get found. You can even use a loud ballistic for this. It doesn't matter. I'm demonstrating this kill with a loud shotgun. In fact, I'm using the Sonov just to show you the worst range weapon in the game can still make this kill happen from this spot. It's a really cool spot. Code 17 should be used more often, and hopefully we'll see more spins where this strat is viable. For now, you're just going to need to learn how to identify a spin and make sure that this strat is even viable for the spin that you have. And until then, just play around with it so you're at least good at it by the time that type of spin pops up. So the next updated strat we're going to talk about is the Viktor Novikov bullet distraction lure. Start tech crew for this, and you're going to head over to the spot where the first camera is, right where you start. Don't get spotted by the cameras here. You'll see Victor exiting through a doorway. You're going to want to shoot just past Victor at a box area where the bodyguard behind him will be distracted. From there, you're going to immediately shoot right next to where the doors are while they're still open and get Victor to walk out and investigate that bullet shot. The first bullet shot was to distract the bodyguard. If you only shoot once to distract Victor, he will send a bodyguard over and you'll fuck up the strat. You can either knock out Victor here and store his body in the side room, or you can dump him immediately off the railings here and get a free kill if the spin is like Victor Tech Crew Fall or something. This might be a very viable strat for you. It leaves you open to being able to trigger the fireworks whenever you like for Dahlia's sake, and you won't have to worry so much about timing issues in regards to anything needed for the Dahlia kill, because Victor's already unconscious and chilling waiting for you to kill him, even though the fireworks have yet to be triggered. Pretty awesome strat, definitely viable for a number of spins. You'd be surprised how often this one comes up, so practice this one for sure. The last thing we have for Paris is the ceiling shot for Victor. If you start Tech Crew, immediately head over to the left by that first camera again and shoot near the ceiling. Victor will be the only one to hear this shot. Make sure that the shot is at the perfect spot at the ceiling, so really pay attention to where I shot there. And he will start heading to the direction of that gunshot. He'll actually head all the way up to the attic to investigate this one. So you're going to have to meet him in the attic, KO the 2 bodyguards up there, as you're seeing here on screen. Be sure not to, screw this up and get caught, because getting caught here is pretty easy to do. But this is a pretty easy strat once you've practiced it a little bit. It's very viable for a number of spins, and it's pretty awesome when it comes to loud ballistic kills in the Vampire Magician disguise for Victor. Very often does a spin come up where you're going to need to get Victor in the attic and get the Vampire Magician disguise to take care of him up there. It just makes it so much faster, really cuts the time down, and you can always grab the fireworks remote to use for Dahlia later as well. So, fantastic strat. Was discovered quite a while ago now, but definitely needed to be added for this update. And now let's move on to Sapienza. For Sapienza, we only have a couple little things to go over, so let's go over them pretty quick. The first one, you're going to need to start in the safe house and grab this little explosive golf ball here to blow up this door downstairs. What this does is it actually wakes up the private detective, which gets Franny triggered to start moving in a different direction than her normal cycle. This is a very easy setup for an electrocution kill when it comes to Franny, and it's pretty much free. Once you blow up the door and wake up the PD and she starts heading downstairs, she's going to be actually walking in the direction, eventually, of where you would get the free mansion staff disguise. So head down to that area, knock out the housekeeper that's chilling on the couch there, box his body, and you'll see a sink out in the open here. Turn on the sink, drop the taser, turn off the sink once there's water on the floor, and detonate the taser. It takes about 3 minutes for Franny to walk into the puddle and kill herself once she's triggered to be moving in this direction. So, you still have a little bit of time to play with. And you can always get the setup for Silvio done in the meantime as well. Now, the other strat that I have to talk about in this map that comes to mind is getting Silvio down for a live loud ballistic kill. This kill can be a bit of a nuisance in this map because once he's in the auditorium, there are guards pretty much everywhere, and getting Silvio for a loud ballistic kill on this area is just a nightmare. So what you're going to need to do to initiate this strat is first shoot the panel out so that you're going to lure Silvio into the auditorium. Once he's in the auditorium, he'll investigate the area and start meandering his way upstairs. Once Silvio turns around and takes a few steps, you're going to need to shoot pretty much right in front of the railing on the floor right by Silvio to get him to target lockdown. He'll start heading downstairs, and at this point you can take out the first guard that's right below you with a trank if you can, if you have access to a trank, and then take out the second guard while Silvio is running in front of him. Silvio's going to go all the way down to the labs, and at this point you can KO the guard downstairs in the labs by any means necessary. And once you see Silvio start to flee, you can either shoot him in the leg to delay him a little bit, or point your gun at his face to make him crouch. Either way, it's all good. No one's really going to hear this. No one's going to see this. Just get the loud ballistic kill on him. Box his body real quick, and you still have more than enough time to throw the EMP, detonate it, and exit the map. So you are going to want to make sure that Franny's already dead if the spin requires Silvio to be not KO'd and it requires a loud ballistic kill of some type. The whole target must remain alive or not KO'd or whatever the fuck it's called. Target must remain standing for the kill to take place. That is a new rule that will be taking place as of Roulette Rivals 12, and it's a great change that I hope this tournament sticks to, because so far I'm really liking this change. But that about does it for Sapienza. We've got a little bit to cover when it comes to Marrakesh, so let's do this. Now, for Marrakesh, we have a few new things to go over, so let's start with locking down Klaus. The lockdown Klaus strat is pretty viable for a number of spins. It can shorten the spin about a minute to a minute and a half from the regular meta strats, where you get Klaus at the 230 section in the consulate, and you do the radio trigger or the intercom lure for Reza. Just classic Marrakesh shit. If you watched the Marrakesh video from this series in the past, then you already know those strats, but this one's going into a little bit more depth. You're pretty much getting two birds stoned at once with this strat. You're going to either start default or anywhere else on the map, really, and head over to where I showed on screen here, right beside this one tree, this specific tree. And at about this timestamp here, you can shoot Klaus, get him locked down, and he's going to make his way all the way over to the school. So from the time that you lock him down, you then have several minutes to actually deal with whatever you need to deal with in terms of disguises, weaponry required for the kill, etc. and so forth. You can make your way into the school and get Reza isolated. It really is up to you how you approach this, but eventually when Klaus does get to the school, you can knock him out as you see on screen here. And to be honest, if you really wanted to, you could get a loud ballistics kill in this exact spot for Klaus and then exit the map, because the truck is right there. As long as you have the truck keys, you're good to go. The other thing I really enjoy about this strat is that it gives the handyman start a little more viability, because it makes this entire strat about a full minute faster than if you were to start default or something. Handyman, you can pretty much lock him down immediately, as you saw on screen there, and then just make your way over to the school as normal and deal with Klaus literally 1 minute earlier. This lockdown Klaus strat can actually make Marrakesh spins sub 5 pretty consistently, which is remarkable considering this is a 630 map typically from the standard meta strats that are showcased in my Marrakesh video. Be sure to check out that video as well as all the other Season 1 videos, as well as the entire playlist, because that would be really sick. Just click on the friggin' playlist and watch the shit out of this shit, because I really appreciate it, and you will appreciate it too once you learn some shit. So there you go. Lockdown Klaus, top tier, use it. Next up, we have the isolating Reza by the prisoner strat. The prisoner is another leash for Reza. You can bring him downstairs pretty much at any time by getting the prisoner disguise, or you can get him at the 5 minutes and 10-second mark when he's in the room with the prisoner. The only thing you need to worry about is dismissing the elite soldiers that roam around in the downstairs area, so you will need an officer disguise to do that, but that's a very easy disguise to get. I've already showcased a few ways to get officer disguises. You can again refer back to the Marrakesh video I released earlier in this series if you want to know that. Essentially, if the spin requires Klaus to be eliminated at the 230 mark in the standard Klaus strat that I showcased in the original Marrakesh video, you have more than enough time to, once you kill Klaus, get over to the school and access an officer disguise, get rid of everybody downstairs that you need to, and grab the prisoner outfit. Sit in the chair and wait for Reza. What I love to do in this scenario is place a briefcase behind the prisoner's chair, so that Reza will actually go towards the briefcase, investigate that, and while he's doing that, you can get up off the chair and get pretty much any kill that you need on Reza right there and then. Even loud ballistics that he needs to be alive for will work in this scenario. I really enjoy this strat specifically for loud ballistic Reza because any disguise really works with this. You can knock out Reza, you can trigger him at any time with the prisoner lure. It doesn't really matter. This strat works fantastically for that. You can also do this a little bit earlier in the spin. If you start in the school, you can trigger this strat immediately by getting an officer disguise right off the bat, dismissing the elite soldiers, grabbing the prisoner, and waiting for Reza with the briefcase behind you. Again, pretty much any kill will work with this strat in mind, so keep the strat on hand. It does make loud ballistics for Reza while he's alive or knocked out a lot easier for this map. Specifically, the only real obstacle is the guard that's immediately outside of the prisoner's room, just investigating the boxes behind the prisoner. So you can just deal with him by tranking him or using a snail or something like that, making sure that he's out of the way and then getting the kill on Reza afterwards. A lot of people do know about this strat, but I figured I should include it because it is quite viable, and I just wanted to showcase that a little more here. Next up, we have a strat that doesn't come up in too many spins, I find, but it is worth knowing, where we get Reza sick. You have to first get the military officer sick from the elite soldier start, and then immediately run inside of the room where Reza is behind that officer and get him sick with the second seeker dart. So you will need a seeker for this strat. The two of them are going to be sick and make their way out of the school. Once you see Reza and he's walking in this general vicinity, you can knock him out around this point here and leave his body in this area. He's pretty much good to go there. No one's going to find his body. Just make sure that if you do something like a loud ballistic kill while Reza's knocked out here, you get to the exit with that truck immediately. Otherwise, it can be a bit of a shit show. His body can be found pretty quick, but again, this is another viable spot to have a loud ballistics kill for Reza if it's the last kill of the map and you exit immediately, like I said. So definitely worth knowing. You can also make your way to Klaus at 2:30 if there's a disguise required for Klaus that maybe in the consulate or something. You can isolate Klaus, get the disguise that you might need in the consulate, get the kill on Klaus, come back in whatever disguise you need for Reza, get the loud ballistics kill on him, and exit the truck. It's pretty simple for that, and definitely can make spins sub 5:30 quite often. Next up, we have a much faster consumed poison kill for Reza that doesn't involve the dinner plate and the waiter. With this, you're going to need to poison a water bottle, and you're going to need to turn off the AC system by destroying the panel that's in this room that I just entered here on screen. Shoot the panel 3 times so that you see the covering fall off. Then immediately run over to the bottle in the same room and poison that bitch. Now, this is the setup. You're good to go. Now just go get whatever disguise you need for Reza, and he should be dead around the 3 minutes 10 to 3 minutes 20 second mark, depending on how fast you shot out the panel from the elite soldier starting point. And to top off Marrakesh, we have a updated disguise grab for the consulate intern. This one's quite old. It's actually been around for a lot longer than you would think, but I didn't cover this strat in my initial Marrakesh video, so I'm glad to be doing it in this one. You're going to want to start lamp store rooftop for this one. Head down to the first storekeeper that you see there, trank his ass, and then throw your briefcase in front of this box here. The chick shopkeeper outside is going to come in. She's going to investigate the sound. If she sees the body, it's no big deal, whatever. Just KO her, box her, and then watch your mini-map. You'll see a couple real NPCs, but for the most part, almost all the NPCs outside are fake, except for the wandering consulate intern. Once he gets to right about in front of where the wall is in front of you, you can throw the briefcase again at the box, get him to come inside, KO him, and grab his disguise. You'll have the consulate intern disguise within the first minute of the map, guaranteed, and that's that. Away you go, deal with the rest of your shit. Again, it's quite an old strat. It's been around since Roulette Rivals World Championships 2021, I believe. That's at least the first time I saw it anyways. So I'm kind of stumped as to why I didn't include it in the first video, but fuck it, we got it here now. So There you go. Better late than never. Next up, we have Bangkok, and the first strat I'm going to showcase here is the faster Jordan Cross consumed poison strat. Start recording crew, and get your ass up to Jordan's vocal booth and bump him, literally, in the vocal booth as fast as humanly possible. You're going to want to bump him around the 22-23 second mark just to ensure that you're going to make the timing for this, and you're going to want to get out of the vocal booth as soon as you can to try to not be seen by Jordan. There's a very finicky way to do this, so get the bump on him, get out of the vocal booth, and then at that point you go right upstairs and you poison his beer bottle. Just do what you see on screen right here and get the fuck out of Dodge. If you did this right, he should die around the 125 to 130 mark. However, if you do need a different disguise for this kill, like one that's maybe a little bit out of the way, you can either choose to, once you've bumped him, seeker dart him once to delay him for 60 seconds, or seeker him twice if you need something like the Stalker disguise. I definitely recommend using 2 seeker darts on him if you really need to get a disguise that's out of the way. That way you can probably get Ken dealt with as well on your way to getting the disguises required for the Jordan kill. Just be careful taking the seeker shots because the recording crew guys on the side can easily see you, so you're gonna need to practice this one, but it's definitely worth doing because the birthday cake fucking sucks ass. Don't even bother with that shit. It's a terrible lure now. It was meta for quite a while, but I don't think we'll probably ever see a use for that strategy ever again. Who knows, though? Like I said, roulette's always evolving, so maybe I'll eat my words in no time. Next up, we have strats for Ken Fall. Ken Fall can be a bit of a bitch because there's really only 2 viable ways to do it, and both ways kind of suck. One's very long and tedious, which is the strat I'm showcasing now. And the other strat is not very good because it's easy to get spotted on, and we'll cover that one in just a bit. But first thing you need to do here is get a hotel staff disguise. You can start hotel staff here, and you're going to need the key card for 47 Suite, so either bring in a tool for the key cards in your inventory, or grab the key card like you saw me do on screen there by taking out the manager, or you can just start in 47 Suite and grab a hotel staff disguise afterwards, because starting in 47 Suite, you have the key card by default. But all this strat really requires is walking up to Ken and doing a hotel staff lure all the way up to 47 Suite. It takes a while. It's, like I said, pretty tedious and boring, but it's very, very safe for Ken Fall, and it's 100% the strat that I recommend in a match, especially if you're playing in an early tournament match. Later tournament matches, we'll talk about the strat I recommend for fall kills, but for now, let's just discuss this bitch. Just bring Ken upstairs into 47th Suite and throw something off to the side here in this room. Make sure both doors are open so that Ken actually hears the throw. He'll be the one to investigate it. Then once Otis enters the room, close the door behind him, knock Otis out, then knock Ken out, and dump him off 47's balcony as you see here. Make sure you only do this kill from the right side of the balcony here, because if you do it from the left or the front, you'll definitely get spotted as there's a lot of wandering eyes in this area. So if you do it from the right, you'll never get caught and you're good to go. For the other fall kill strat for Ken Morgan, this one is a bit of a bitch. It requires coins and you need to get Otis sick. So a couple of things in your inventory are required for this kill, but it is fairly simple despite it being inconsistent due to the NPCs being in the area. Just get Otis sick, make sure Ken is in this exact spot, so you're going to need to get him either immediately from the default start or the 3:30 mark from any other start on the map. Unless you do 47 Suite, then you can get him here at about the 4-minute mark, because he's about 30 seconds delayed if you start 47 Suite. So it's important to know the timestamps for when Ken is going to be in this spot, but once he's here, you can place the coins down, bring him over to the side of the ledge here, and push him over. Make sure you do not trigger the conversation with the hotel staff dudes over here in this section, because if you do, their eyes will be right on Ken the second you go to push him, and you'll need to watch out for the NPCs to the right of where you push Ken and down below. There's NPCs freaking everywhere that can see you do this, so if you do it in just the right spot, from just the right timing, making sure that the NPC that can spot you, who's to the right and below you, has his back turned, which can be also a bit of a pain in the dick as well. Timing for this is shit. Then you can get the kill no problem, but again, this is not recommended. I recommend this strat only if you're in late tournament matches and your opponent is really fucking good. Otherwise, stick to the hotel staff lure strat, because that's much safer, and yeah, it's boring, but it'll guarantee you a Ken Fall kill with how many pro players I've seen rip to this fucking bullshit Ken fall kill strat, I don't recommend it. But it's there. I didn't show it in the first Bangkok video I did, so I figured I'd show it now. And the last thing I want to address is the update that they did to Bangkok, where if you get Ken sick anywhere in his cycle, he'll go to a bathroom no matter what. If you get Ken sick pretty much anywhere that's close to the bathroom on the right side of the hotel, he will get sick in that bathroom there. If you get Ken sick when he's at the reception desk, when he's over talking to the hotel staff dude about the letter, he'll go downstairs to the bathroom down there. So either way, you're getting a bathroom. So Ken drown, Ken live, whatever the fuck the kill is a lot easier now thanks to Ken just getting sick and going straight to a toilet. No more breadbasket shit. No more kitchen stuff. He'll always go to a toilet now, which makes Bangkok a much easier map and a little bit less interesting than it used to be. So that's unfortunate for someone like me who really loved this map beforehand, and now it's just kind of another roulette map. I still love it, but it's definitely not as interesting as it used to be since this update came into it. But hey, I'm not complaining. It's still fun. And now let's move on to Colorado. Now, Colorado doesn't have a lot in terms of updates, but there are a couple of things that I missed in the first Colorado video that I did that I'd like to add, such as Penelope Electrocution. Penelope Electrocution is pretty straightforward. It's a live kill. You do not need to KO Penelope for this, so just remember that. All you have to do here is run over to the area where there are a couple of militia technicians hanging out. One of them's got the badge that is for Interpol, so you can get the Interpol lure on Penelope if you show her the badge, but it's really irrelevant for this because you're not really going to be using Interpol ever. So don't worry about that. Just keep in mind that that's where the area is. There's going to be a hose in that vicinity, so turn on the hose, turn off the hose, go over to the puddle where the hose just put out and drop the fucking taser and detonate the taser. The only person to enter this puddle is Penelope. You're good to go from that point on. The other stuff I want to talk about in this map is just the Maya and Etzraberg live loud ballistic kills. With Maya, it's very simple. You're just going to get the lure on Maya as you normally do. You're going to bring her over to the box area. You're going to get the kill on her. If it's the first cycle or the second cycle, it doesn't matter. You don't need to worry about Sean or Penelope with this kill because live loud ballistics won't be a thing for those two. It's just for Etzra and for Maya. Lure her over to the box, get the kill, box her up, run the fuck out of there, away you go. It's really that simple. There's nothing to it. It's just like a regular kill for Maya. You just may have to do it on her second cycle sometimes, depending on what you're able to get done beforehand. As for Etzra, I didn't show this in the first video, but I'm glad I'm adding it to this one. If you're downstairs in the bomb shelter, there's a little panel you can trigger right in front of the prisoner, which actually puts Etzra on a leash. You can just bring Etzra into the room and he'll make his way there eventually. Within a matter of a few seconds, he'll stop doing whatever he's doing in his cycle and immediately head down to the bomb shelter. So just chill out in there and wait for him, get the loud ballistic or the live kill or whatever it is that you need to get on him, and away you go. I recommend doing this kill last, so make sure that you're exiting the bomb shelter when you get the loud ballistic kill on Etzra, especially if he's live. Just get the kill, exit the bomb shelter exit, and away you go. As I said, not a whole lot here with Colorado, but I wanted to showcase these little tidbits just to make sure that I covered all the Season 1 maps. And I think now it's time to move on to Hokkaido. Now, Hokkaido's got some fun shit that we can showcase in this video here, and I'm going to start with the strat that Frody invented. Again, another Frody strat. Everybody loves and knows Frody. Love you, bro. It's a fucking awesome strat we've got going on here. It's basically a quick hostile disguise Yuki isolation. No need for that fucking sauna. The sauna lure is still entirely viable for a number of spins, but if ninja or motorcyclist come up in the spin, you may be able to use this strat. I'm showing it off with ninja to start, and then I'll show you the motorcyclist one right afterwards. Basically, you need to bring a breaching charge and a trank. You'll also probably need key hackers, especially if you need ninja for the kill, so that's already 3 loadout spots done, and oftentimes we need to bring in a pistol as well. So if the spin is very loadout heavy, this is not going to be viable. But if you can make it work, this is 100% the optimal way to go when it comes to hostile kills with Yuki, because it beats the fuck out of waiting for the 4:30 mark to come for the Yuki sauna lure. So at the very least, you're shaving off a good 20 seconds or so with this strat, most of the time anyways. Make your way downstairs and go about maneuvering the area as I showcased on screen here. Once you get into the side room past the garage, take out the resort security guard here, and you're going to need to plant guns appropriately. So make sure you picked up the first gun that you got from knocking out the original bodyguard. Plant that one outside the room after placing the breaching charge on the window here. What this is going to do is it's going to attract the attention of all the necessary people that it needs to. Go grab the gun that you got from knocking out the resort security and place it on the outside of the doors that you came in initially. This will stop a roaming resort security from entering the vicinity and seeing any bodies that might be lying around. From here, you're going to need to trank one of the resort staff guys and KO the other. Trank both of them if you can afford the darts. I honestly recommend you doing that because that way you need to hide less bodies for this kill and it speeds up the process a little bit. Yuki is going to see the breaching charge and one of her bodyguards is going to see the pistol. It's going to bring a resort security guy around and make it so that somebody else comes and investigates the breaching charge. As soon as Yuki gets into the room, detonate the breacher so that she doesn't have anything to worry about anymore and she'll start moving out of the room. From that point on, you're going to need to throw distract something for Yuki. She will investigate it, then sneak up behind her two guards, KO them, and deal with Yuki. You can get a live kill here in a hostile disguise. You can get a KO'd kill. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure you box all the unconscious bodies once they're dealt with. Ninja is definitely the trickier hostile disguise to do this strat with. Motorcyclist is far easier, as I'm about to demonstrate on screen, because you've got a little more time to play with. And it might not be as resource heavy because you can start in your suit for motorcyclist. So there are definitely a few more options to work with. If Motorcyclist pops up in the spin, then you're in luck. If Ninja does, you might still be able to pull this off. If Baseball Player is a thing in this spin, then it probably won't work. You just don't have the time to get to Yuki and set this up in time with the Baseball Player disguise. There's just too many moving parts and too many variables for this, so unfortunately Baseball Player is still out. If you see Baseball Player in the spin for Yuki kill, it's still going to be the Sauna Lure, but that's fine. One disguise giving us guaranteed Sauna Lure is really not too bad. This strat definitely cuts down a lot of the time that you would use otherwise for a hostile disguise kill for Yuki, so it's more than a welcomed addition to the strats, and I highly recommend practicing this one because of all the strats I've showcased in this video so far. I'd say this may take the cake for the one that requires the most practice to really master, but if you can understand everything that's going on the screen right now and you followed my instructions the way that I said, you should be just fine. Take your time with this one, work out all the kinks, make sure that all the moving parts are dealt with, and I guarantee you'll see the 4-minute mark on this map a lot less often, at least in terms of hostile Yuki kills. Next up, we have the updated emetic ISO for Yuki. I looked back on my initial Hokkaido video, and I wasn't impressed that I actually left this out. This is a strat that's like fucking meta as AF. I don't know what the hell I was thinking not putting this in the other video, but my apologies to everybody who used that video before. Eat a dick, I guess. All you gotta do here is at the 130 mark, just take an emetic grenade or 2 seeker darts and throw it in the vicinity of where Yuki is walking at the 130 mark with her guards. Of course, it's going to be a little bit earlier if you start in the default location, but any other starting spot, this is about the 130 mark for Yuki. Throw it so that it gets her and at least one other of her guards sick. If it gets both of them sick, that's fine too, but one of them at least needs to get sick. Otherwise, they'll both follow Yuki into the bathroom that she'll be going to get sick in, and that'll be a bit of a bitch to deal with because there will be 2 guys instead of 1, and it's just easier to deal with if one of them's sick. So the bodyguard will go get sick in Yuki's bathroom, and Yuki will actually go get sick in Portman's bathroom. I recommend just bringing the emetic grenade for this because it's just one less loadout slot you need to worry about, and then you can bring whatever pistol you need, a trank, whatever you might need. Once Yuki's sick, deal with the bodyguard and get the kill on Yuki, or isolate Yuki in this room too, that works, and yeah, that's about it. There's not a whole lot to this strat. I can't believe that I left this out because this is the way that you get Hokkaido done in sub 3 on a regular friggin' basis. So it's a very viable strat, highly recommended. Just fucking use it for pretty much every Hokkaido spin that comes up. It's going to be viable one way or another. The only time it's not is when there's a hostile disguise for Yuki kill, unless the Yuki kill is remote. Hope that helps. Sorry for waiting this long to update this strat, but you know, It is what it is. I had a lot of shit to do. Now you guys are good, right? We're good. We're settled. You got this. The final thing I'm going to talk about now is the updated Surgeon Grab. This is a fantastic new addition. It's the only other disguise update on this video. Again, this strat comes from Frody. You're going to start down in the morgue area. You're going to run over to this spot where I'm standing right now, and you're going to shoot at this grate in this exact location. From this spot. So at that point, one of the surgeons that's upstairs is going to exit that area and come out and investigate the shot. They heard the shot coming from upstairs, so they're going to make their way upstairs. You follow them without getting spotted and KO them on the stairs. Drag their body into a spot where it won't be found, and away you go. Swap disguises, and that's a free Surgeon Grab. Really, really quick. You can even run over to the Yuki area and get the emetic grenade strat I just talked about on Yuki after getting this disguise. If you're really fast, you can even get a ballistic kill in Soder's in your suit if that happens to be the thing. Like, I don't know, pistol, suit, Soder's, Yuki, drowning surgeon. Away you go. It's still a sub 230 spin at that point because of this strat. So really awesome strat, and it's resource free. No need to bring really anything but a pistol for this. So fuck yeah, another Frody strat. Hell yeah, it's good shit. Alright, so that does it for the strat updates for Season 1, and as per tradition for these videos, I'm going to do a spin. I'm going to make sure that the spin is in a Season 1 map. We're just going to do a random one. I don't know, this is my favorite part of these videos, so I'm going to always do these traditional spins at the end of each video because it's just fun. It's good shit, and it can also lead to extra learning experiences. So let's see what we got. Alright, so for this spin, we have Silvio Caruso must be killed with a shotgun, dressed as Roberto Vargas, and Sandy DeFrani must be killed with a old axe dressed as a church staff dude. Alright, cool. No problem. So for some reason the overlay doesn't allow it, but it actually showcases that Silvio needs to be alive and not KO'd for this kill. So that's sick. I'm going to make sure that he's not KO'd. This is actually a pretty interesting spin. I'm pretty stoked about this. We're going to showcase a few cool strats here. I'm opting to start at the church morgue. I'm bringing in a silenced shotgun, a Ziga Viper sniper rifle, which is fucking probably the best sniper rifle for this type of spin, and it's always great in Sapienza because you can kill the virus really easily with it. Don't have to aim at the bottom of the vial. You can just aim anywhere at the vial, and don't worry about hitting somebody in the back behind the virus vial because it won't be a kill, because this sniper rifle is a weak-ass bitch. And I'm bringing a trank and a snail for the Vargas grab. So, here we go. Alright, so starting in the church morgue, I'm going to pop out the sniper rifle, shoot this door open, and here's a fun church staff grab that I've never shown before because we never really needed to grab them from this area. But here we go. Grab the church snaff, hell yeah. New words are the shit. And we're getting the GTFO out of here in order to grab the old axe. So this is actually kind of a sick strat. I'm going to credit Time Cube for this. What up, the Time Cube? Guy just got second place in RR11. So congrats to him. Fucking dude deserves it. He got third place in RRWC 2022. Lost to my dumbass. So, you know what? No matter what people say, I think he's a good player, even if I did beat him. You know, is be what it do. Anyway, so we're going to shoot this blue bitch in the back, right? And then once we do that, this guy walking in front of us here is going to panic. And he's going to panic the bodyguards to our left. He's going to be all fucking, help me, bodyguards, and they're going to be like, why, what's up? And then he's going to be like, dudes running around in fucking church clothing, and they're going to be like, oh, Jesus, can't allow that, and pull out the guns and just stand there for 20 minutes. So that's what's going on here, but nobody gives a fuck that I'm running around with an old axe because that's the game mechanics for you. So if everybody's panicked, they can't see you do shit, and they actually get kind of blinded, like what you just saw there. There were still some people looking at me while I had the sniper rifle and I shot the door, but as long as they don't see you shoot, you're fine. Which nobody saw me shoot. There was no whoosh going on. You really got to pay attention to your whoosh. If you got whoosh when you go to shoot your rifle, even if you're aiming it and you have whoosh, You're fine if you don't have whoosh. Fucking say whoosh again when you go to shoot. So you're good. From here on, it's just standard, pretty much standard Sapienza shit. So just, take out the camera, grab your old axe again. We're already on our way to Franny. This is going to be piss easy. I'm going to knock this guy out because this dude's important. I need his cross. I need you to get naked. Sick. Alright, so he's ready to get naked for me. I'm pumped. We're going to head up here and take Franny DeSaney out with this old axe. It's pretty straightforward. So everybody knows about the 2:30 mark with Franny. You get in there at around 2:30, just after 2:30, and she's pretty much pre-killed at that point. And this strat just happens to be one where you make perfect timing for Franny if you're quick. So you just gotta be quick and not a scrummy A word, B word like I am. Box her ass, the kill's done, away we go. Church staff, old axe on Franny, dunsies. Now we gotta work on Silvio. And it's interesting, because the kill method for Franny is actually kind of tricky, because you need an awkward disguise with an awkward melee weapon. Really, this is the best way to go about doing this particular combination for this spin. Just because of the kill method required. But for Silvio, the tricky part is the disguise required, because Roberto Vargas is a bitch, and he's got a bit of an RNG factor to him. So we're just going to hope that he's in the right spot for us when we get there. But we need to box this guy, and we don't need to box him. We put him in the room there to get him out of the way. Because Silvio's going to be walking back through this room in a minute here. For this, the way I've designed the strat, he needs to kind of get moving after you shoot out the panel. But I kind of forgot what I was doing there for a second, and I realized I need my shotgun still. So we're heading off to grab the shotgun. And this is where I put it. I don't remember why I put it in here. I think this is the best location to put it. I don't fucking know. I don't think there's a closer one than the safe house, but I might be wrong. I was stoned when I did this spin. Full disclosure. So if I did a couple of things in a slow, shitty way, that's the reason. But so far so good. We're in the guard outfit. We got our shotgun. We is ready for this bitch. Now we're going to set up the kill. So we need to go over here and shoot open the door. Silvio's already out of the planetarium or the auditorium, whatever the fuck's called. Shoot open the door, grab the thingamajig, the panel, and then the panel, shooting the panel makes Silvio walk back into the auditorium, which I need him to do in order to get this strat down. Like, I'm lucky I got Roberto in a good spot, but if Silvio's still outside with his guards after he leaves the planetarium the first time around, he'll actually hear the snail go off, and I can't afford that. So Roberto gets KO'd, the guard gets KO'd. You need to place the snail in a really specific spot for that, so kind of watch where I put it there. I've done this strat a few times. It's consistent, and it makes the Roberto grab pretty freaking easy, because he almost never falls off the cliff. And fun fact, even if he does fall off the cliff, I've tested this now, because Fanium asked me if he dies in the Discord. In the Discord, Fanium asked me if he dies, right? If he falls off the cliff. He doesn't fucking die if he falls off the cliff. So as long as you get his clothes, there's the kill on Silvio. He's good to G2G now. As long as you get his clothes,
Now destroy the virus.
you're fine if he falls off the cliff, because he's snailed, so it's all good. Naked snail dude is fine. So I'm dragging this guard's body around the corner because there's that roaming chef. He can see through that window and see the body, so I made sure that he's fucked me over many times in the past. So get him the fuck out of the way and we're good to go, right? So we shot the door open with the sniper, shot the wall over there by the security guard there, and now we're shooting at the virus. Easy peasy. Now, if you use the ghost for that, you need to shoot only the bottom of the virus. Otherwise, you'll kill the dude behind the virus. But if you if you use the Viper, you can shoot it anywhere on the virus, and it will hit the guy in the back, but he won't die because it's a bitch-ass sniper rifle. And there we go. Pretty tricky spin. Just over 6 minutes. Not too bad. Sub 6:30 BI. I'm a fan of that one. So there you go. Use that old axe strat when you go to grab the old axe in a non-guard disguise, because it's fucking top tier, and the Time Cube's a badass bro for introducing it. So there you go. All right, and that about does it for my Season 1 updates. I'm so pumped to be doing this again. We got 2 more videos coming out with updates, and this update mini-series might be an ongoing thing. It really depends on how Roulette progresses in the future. I mean, like I said, it's always evolving. There's always changes, so there might be more updates coming in the future. But for now, I'm going to be working on Season 2 and 3 on the next video and the one after that. And then, of course, if new maps come out in the future, which I'm pretty certain will happen, I will obviously do videos for those as well. So I'm super pumped that you guys are here joining me on this little journey of bringing back the Roulette, whatever it's called. What is Hitman Roulette? Forgot the name of my own series for a little bit there. Yeah, I'm glad to add another video to the list. So this is video number 21. Stay tuned for 22 and 20 Drace, because that shit's gonna be just as, what's the word? Fucking sick. I was trying to think of the young kids' word, fire. That's what it is, fire. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit as AF. But yeah, join me, guys. I'll see you then. Or I'll see you on another time. Either way, love y'all, stay safe, keep rocking out, and keep gaming.